here with Martín Benchimol, who is the director of The Castle, which is playing as a part of our Cinetopia doc program and as part of IberoDoc's 10th edition. Martín, thanks so much for joining us today.
No, thank you for the invitation. For me, it's beautiful, this moment.
And what drew you to the story of The Castle specifically? I'm really curious how you met these two characters to begin with.
Actually, I met them by accident because I was shooting my previous film around the area. As I was looking for some characters, it was a film about healers, and they told me you have to to meet a healer around the castle. And I know I drive to this place, and when I saw this castle in the middle of the field, I just wanted to meet the people who lived there. And I saw Justina working around the house, and I thought she was the worker. So I I asked her, "Hi, I want to meet the owner of the place." And she told me, "I am the owner. Just come in." And that's how our friendship, I can say, started. And it was like 7 years ago. So from this first meeting, I started visiting the castle and writing a script. Because at the beginning I thought that I will start a documentary, like a pure documentary. But luckily I started writing, and for example, Alexia, when I met them, she was 14 years old. And as she started growing up, the bond between them started having new layers. So that's why I'm very grateful about no starting shooting the first day.
Yeah. I mean, that brings us to a really good point that your film's been called docufiction, so it's genre bending, and you recreated the scenes with the two real characters, wrote a script, and had them reenact certain moments. Can you discuss why you chose this hybrid approach? I mean, I think it's fascinating how this all happened.
Actually, because when Justina told me her story, I felt a very strong dramatic arc in her life. So when I started shooting, because I have observational scenes, I felt something more calm than the story. So that's why I made a kind of timeline, and I choose the stronger points for my point of view, and I decided to focus the film in their present, not go into the past, because they have it's huge, the story. I mean, you can make 8 chapters. So I decided to focus on the relationship, the present relationship between them. So that's why I needed to be very accurate with the scenes, very precise with the storytelling. So I started trying with them, but let's play, let remember when you sold your last cow or something like that. It was amazing because they could play their lives, make a new version of the story. So the Alexia Justina that appears in the screen, of course, they are the real ones, but they are revisiting and rewriting their own lives. So for me, it was very, new, the way, the approach, because I wrote a script, but of course I didn't make the film that I wrote, because, we shoot in 3 stages. So after the first stage of shooting, the film changed it 100%. For example, I wrote a different ending, because as it is an emancipation story, I wanted to Justina sell the house, and that was for me at the beginning the idea of emancipation. But while we were working on the film, I understood that this is not the idea of emancipation that Justina feels, because she starts the film being the owner. So the ownership is not the legal ownership is not the topic. It's like the symbolic ownership. So that's why she living in the house with the animals and resting. It's the way that she can liberate herself. And I learned it working with them.
What was it like directing Justina and Alexia? I mean, they're non-actors playing themselves, but I mean, so how much was there like a direction? I mean, anytime, even in any documentary, as fly on the wall it is as it is, the presence of the camera makes things change. So I think it's very great to see you recreating sort of parts of their lives and them playing themselves, and I think that's really fascinating. But I was wondering how it was to direct Justina and Alexia.
Wow, amazing. There were like two different and I can say opposite ways of directing with both. Alexia loved the acting as a work also. I mean, she wants to start acting now, and she loves to hear my indications and to yes, to take like to build the scene, like to work as an actor. But Justina, in my point of view, she wasn't acting. She was living the scenes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the scenes that we played were from their universe. So, for example, when Alexia is leaving the house, the first time she tries to live with the family, it was the first time that Justina saw her daughter leaving. So she wasn't acting. She was like feeling the situation of being alone. So it was very different. And when I said a scene like wasn't from the universe of Justina, it was very clear because she was like very like I don't know, hard and it wasn't her.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Amazing. So one of the things that I really love from the moment it starts is the music. So the music really sets the tone for the film. It's sort of has this Henry Mancini, old Hollywood orchestral sort of feel. And I feel like it makes the locations opulent and otherworldly, even if they're sort of broken down and like broken down dreams. But just tell me a little bit about how and why you've sort of created this tone through this music and who you worked with to do that. I love it. And I mean, with the titles too, it just has that sort of, opulence to it.
Yes. Yeah. In the beginning, I didn't think in put music, but during the editing process, we started making some sequences, and it was like, okay, that's that's the mood, and well, it opened like a new approach because we could play with the story, and we could be, because we used to say this is a kind of fairy tale, a dark fairy tale, or I don't know, and we just put the music that we needed for this mood. And well, it was a kind of yes, like a like an old Disney music, or we thought like what kind of music could have sounded in the parties that they celebrated in the castle. So it was like the sound of the previous castle sounding now.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
then it opened like a playful approach. For example, with the thunder breaks. I mean, it's the previous owner sending the rain.
Yeah.
For us, it's like it's we playing with the idea of the fairy tale.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, they're playful, almost comedic sort of elements with animals walking through. I think that's what makes me really love the film. Because I think it's tender but also playful and whimsical. So, one thing though, on the other side of that, I think I was particularly drawn to the conversations that Justina was having with her lover, I guess, who lives in another town, which sometimes comes across as like sad and isolating. And I think maybe also not just, I mean, the music being playful, but the location be feeling isolating and sort of lonely is very part of the theme of the film. I wanted to know if you could talk about that. I mean, were some of those scenes real, or how, how and why is that an important part of the story?
Yeah. It's because I was realizing that it's a film also about the loneliness and how she deals with it. And yes, I mean, Enrique, the lover exists. And we rebuilt the scenes because we recorded some conversations, but I needed precise scenes. So we re-recorded everything, but we we used like textual from him, like when he's saying, "I want to live with you. I want to leave my place. I move into the castle to, I don't know, to have animals." It's the real one speaking in the voice of another man.
Wow.
And it was amazing because Justina was like acting her relationship with Enrique and putting a new layers and putting a new, I don't know, it was very refreshing for her.
Yeah.
Told me, I mean, because it's a complex relationship.
Yeah, of
First
course.
of all, I started like judging why this man is not visiting her. But then I understood that they both are like chatting all days, and it's a way of relationship also for both, because he's very alone also.
Yeah, absolutely, and complex. And I think again, this idea of fairy tale, it's there. Your imagination kind of goes wild to think why and how and what's going on the other side. So, really fascinating part of the story. What I absolutely love about your film is that it's like both lush and intimate. And we talked a lot about that intimacy. You fall in love with the characters immediately. But I also think it's I would imagine it's a very particularly Argentine film. But I wondered if, I guess there's nuances that maybe I didn't notice, but I wondered how Argentine audiences will respond to this versus, it's been shown around the world, and and how different audiences are responding to it.
It's quite funny because I made an interview last Saturday, and they told me exactly the opposite. They told me, "Wow, this is not a pure Argentine film." So because it's not common, the story here. I mean, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's not an Argentinian issue. This situation is very weird here too. So, of course, it's closer for us, the situation with the family, this kind of mid-class, decadent family. And yeah, this is very, I can say, Latin more than Argentine, like from Latin America, I mean. But yeah, here it's a weird story also, because I think it's weird from like a housekeeper or a worker being owner of a huge place.
Yeah.
But this is the like the break in the timeline, in the historic timeline that this film makes. But yeah, it's not. I think it's not a very Argentine, like. Yeah, it doesn't have like a Argentine mood.
No, that's very interesting. What it did, like when I first read the description, is I thought of the famous Maisels film Grey Gardens, and like is what made me actually go see the film in the beginning. And it's a film I love and spent a lot of time thinking about. Like, but it's often criticized for the role in telling or exposing the stories of the women. But I think the castle's tone is very compassionate, and I was just curious on how their relationship with the film has been. I've seen that they've kind of traveled around with the film a couple times, and how your relationship with them has grown since the film's been. I mean, again, you said you've been working with them for quite a few years, but maybe how your relationship has grown with the characters that you've been working with for so long.
It's beautiful to hear Alexia speaking about the film. Actually, when we traveled with them, I mean, we presented the film in San Sebastian and in Biarritz, of course, in Argentina too. But Alexia, well, Justina said, I go to anywhere, but I don't speak. So it's the same than in the film. And Alexia is like the representative of Justina, and she loves to speak, and she prepared different version of her answers to the question that she's supposed to receive.
Yeah.
So she loves to be like in front of the camera to make interviews, because well, they used to say that they love the film. They feel very represented by the film, and it was very I know, refreshing for them showing the film here in Argentina with the family. It was like not a revenge, but a kind of, because we didn't speak about that, but the real family, I mean, they visited the castle when we were shooting, and there is an observational scene in the kitchen when Alexia is very angry because they will visit the day after. And this is a documentary, a pure documentary scene. I mean, they are arguing, in fact. So the day after, the family arrived in the castle and they made this invasion and stuff, and I didn't shoot them. So we recreated this with my family.
Oh,
so
wow.
the family that appears in the film is my mother, my father, my aunt, my cousin. So it was very funny. It was a chaos, but it was very, I don't know, kind of, yeah, cathartic for Alexia and Justina to shoot to my father, to say fuck off to my family. So showing this film in Argentina was very, I mean, it's supposed to be hard, but the family saw the film and it was everything okay. So for them was like kind of making a step forward with this relationship, because they could say, no, please don't come this weekend, for example.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Real work, not in the film. I mean, in both.
Incredible. And so it was the actual screening that kind of made, that this has been, but this relationship has evolved then. Yeah. Amazing. So what has happened to Alexia and Justina since you stopped filming the castle? I mean, they're still in the castle, they're still working. Is it the same kind of struggles that you see, that throughout the film? Or is there any, updates that we can know about?
Oh, yes. First of all, the film, of course, paid them very well. We rebuilt a lot of scenes with the leak, with the roof. I mean, we fixed it. We and they, I mean, the castle's very much better now. And they are still living there. And Alexia is working in a closer field, driving a truck. So it's not Formula 4, but it's a kind of driving work. And I don't know, for now, she's not living, Alexia. I mean, maybe to Lobos, which is the closer city, but not Buenos Aires, not now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so torn because I want Alexia to go to the big city, and follow her dreams, but then at the same time I feel for her mother, needing her there, and that bond is so special, and I think you really capture that well. I also want to talk about the length, because I read another interview you've done, and this is a feature film, but it's on the shorter side, and you had made a comment about wanting to make the film, every scene matter, and I wanted to because you had time to plan it and recreate it. What was your thoughts in terms of length and scenes and all of that, and how that came about in terms in the edit?
Yes. Um, I mean, I didn't plan the length, but during the editing, we with Anita Ramon, the editor, we wanted to be very, precise. And because the film, for us needed to be to not to go to different places, and because it's not like a mood in the castle, like watching the real life and the daily life. So that's we wanted to be like like with the storytelling. And yeah, for me, cinema, I mean, all the minutes in the cinema for me, it's like very high pressure. Like I want to put, I don't know, because actually the film, when you put that, like a scene that wasn't for the storytelling, like going down a little bit,
Yeah.
actually in the mood, because it's a very sad story in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we wanted to tell in a way that I think it's a story of emancipation.
Yeah.
So we needed to be like close to the story all the time, because it could be darker than reality, because actually they are more or less good in the castle. I mean, but as we rebuild all the struggles they had to, you know, to superate, it could be a darker film than we have. So we needed to be, yes, on the story all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to put the music and make this storytelling more or less accurate.
Yeah. I mean, and that is exactly what happens. I think it's really complex, which is why I love it so much, because it's fun and playful with everything we've talked about, and it's beautiful, but it's also, there is this element of sadness and loneliness and complexity, you know, to life. That's a challenging life that you get out of the film, which I absolutely love. This is, I heard, your solo debut, a solo debut. You've done
Uh-huh.
many films before, or other films before, but what's next for you as in terms of a filmmaker?
I'm developing something around the area, that I don't want to tell the new topic, but it's in the more or less the same mood with real
Okay,
actors, and
great.
more or less with this approach that I loved, like a kind of storytelling with real stories.
Yeah,
I don't know if a documentary or fiction or this more
yeah,
or less that you saw, because I enjoy very much writing. I mean, putting like the
yeah.
world in a film for me
Mhm.
demands a lot of operations of storytelling, and for me it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
this way of filmmaking.
Speaking of the area, then, so you're going back to La Pampa to do, or near that area. Do you have some personal connection to it, or how did you sort of, yeah, I mean, this film has made me want to go, and people say there's not
Okay.
much there, but I'm just curious how what's your connection to the area?
Well, actually, I'm not from Buenos Aires. I'm from the outsides, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a city. It's not a field, like countryside, like these films. But my father used to work with, yeah, in the countryside. So I used to go with him to see the cows and stuff. So, and I don't know, it's a place that I like to go to film, actually. And maybe because here in the city, because I live in Buenos Aires in the city, there are a lot of uh, situations going around, and for me, it's easier to focus in one situation in the countryside. I mean, but I like to film there. For me, it's easier. For me, it's like traveling, filming while traveling. um, and yeah, it's a place that I used to go with my father, so it's in a way I feel it closer and familiar.
Absolutely. It's an idyllic. It looks just absolutely stunning in your film. I can thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I know that it's been it's going to be at Iberodocs, where it has been at Iberodocs, but will be in other will continue to travel, or what's the plan for the film?
Well, now I'm going to Toulouse, to France.
Great.
Yeah, to the festival, and then I think we will make a screening in Paris because
Wow.
this is a French co-production,
Right.
so they are planning to make a screening also in Paris and maybe in TV, but I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not working in the distribution, but I hope you can watch it on TV.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Martín, for taking the time to chat with us. And I just absolutely love watching your film over, and I've now seen it 4 times, and I'm excited for the 5th. So thanks again.
Oh, thank you very much.